Hi, everybody. Welcome to Moving Forward with AudryeNow. This is the podcast Moving Forward with AudryeNow, and I am Audrey. We are a healing podcast. So, I'm going to say a few things today that may come as a shock to some, and to others, it's normal. Um, Let me begin with this is a healing podcast, and we're about growing consciousness within anybody who chooses to evolve. And as many people know now, we are on the earth at a time of, some people call it the time of reset, the time of shift, shifting timelines, shifting energies. I have this called the podcast Moving Forward because it's time to really, for our species, to grow up and really be who we are meant to be, which some would say it's our higher self, someone say it's fourth dimension, but it's stopping this nonsense with wars and foolishness and every 5,000 years, more or less 5,200 years, having some kind of collapse. We don't need to do that anymore because, all right, let me start with our affirmation. And this is something for you to say, for you to feel. You don't just say this, you feel it, you allow it. And I may have used this affirmation before. Here we go. I am made of source stuff, so there is nothing to save me from. Again, I am made of source stuff, so there is nothing to save me from. I am made of source stuff, so there is nothing to save me from. Whether you call it, which is not what I call it. Some people say Christ consciousness. I call it light consciousness because the other sounds like a religion to me, or Buddha awareness, or Moses mentality, whatever you want to call it, because this is something that every human being anywhere on or off our planet is made of this. Does everyone act like it? No, clearly not. Many people, including me sometimes, are acting straight out of ego. That is not the highest thing. And who saves us from that? Ourselves. And I spell self, capital S, little s, ELF. Capital S, soul, essence, self, little s, ego, personality, self. You can give it fancy names. You can call it higher self, lower self, three-dimensional self, cosmic human. But we're at a time now where all this, excuse my language here, or don't, foolishness of fighting over land, of fighting over whose religion is right, whose is wrong, which sex or gender is the correct one or the better one. That stuff, people, many of us have known this for years. Some people make it a whole thing. It's nuts. It's time to go forward. A lot of us are saying, and they can have fancier words, I like keeping it simple so that it's easy for us to do. What this is a time for is releasing the falsity, releasing what's fake, releasing the inauthenticity. You do it for yourself. You want to know who you are? Release teachings that say that you're lost, that you need to be saved, that only a specific avatar, whether it's Yeshua or Jesus or Thoth, Thoth, or someone else, Moses. Nobody has to save you. You're not lost. You're not born in sin. Those are all fake teachings. A lot of us are saying this now. And I'm living right now in a Catholic country. I'm in Costa Rica. Am I going to say this to just anyone? No, I'm not. I like my friends here. I love my friends here. Do I want to get into a whole argument? Not everybody has the mentality to hear this. I am well aware of that. But the actuality is we are the ones we have been looking for. We are the it. Does that mean everybody is at that level? No. I am still growing and evolving to that, but it matters and it doesn't matter. When you really understand that much of what any of us has been taught is conditioning. It's a way to trap people. It's a way to keep people slaves. I forwarded a talk between Billy Carson and Matthew. Oh, what's his last name? Darn, didn't come. And Jim. I'm sorry, the names, I'm not thinking of them now, and I just forwarded, and I thought it was brand new. It wasn't. It was from 2022. We're all saying this now. This is the time for us to realize our power. We are made of source stuff as well as physicality. It's even been shown, and one of the experts on this is Greg Braden, and there are many others, that our DNA was changed easily 200,000 years ago, or maybe longer, where chromosome 2 was spliced together from others, and that gave us our humanness, our ability to feel, our ability to think, our ability to have intuition. This is what separates us from the so called animals. We're not from an ape, maybe up to a certain point. Then we are made of, I feel, whatever you call the universe, whatever the creator is, whatever your language for that is, that's part of what makes us what we are. Plus, whatever it may have been, whoever some call it the Anunnaki, from the skies they came. So we are multi-dimensional, multi-species stuff. I do think that beings from wherever they might have been, whatever planet, whatever timeline, whatever, help make us what we are. So we are also, if you want to say extraterrestrial, that's part of what we are. And some people say the visitors that are coming now are part of our family. Does that mean they all have our good in mind? No, it does not. Any more than every person always has our good in mind. I don't need to tell you that there are people that do not have your good in mind at all, that some people are ruled by greed, that they're ruled by they have to win and dominate. That kind of energy is what we're calling the old earth, the new earth. And I do not feel we have to go to a different planet. And how do you get to the timeline you choose? Live it. Live it now. So our breathing attunement, and again, I'm keeping them simple. That way you practice. And when you do them, you grow and evolve. So keep it simple, sweetie. Kiss. So you'll actually do it. That goes for me too. So I'm putting my hand on my heart. Okay. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, once you can do this easily, and don't necessarily have to count it, you're in the rhythm, and you'll notice you're feeling calmer, you're feeling more centered, more balanced. Add to it, you're breathing in shining, pure white light. You're breathing white light into the linings of all your cells. And do that a number of times. I need water. Excuse me. Water. And do that. And then breathe in golden light into the nucleus of all your cells. And do that a few times. Do that every morning and every night before you go to bed. So don't wait till right before you go to bed. Or if you're like me, you'll forget, you'll go to sleep. Do it when you're starting to get a little bit tired. If you normally go to bed, say at 9 in the evening or 10 in the evening, do it at 8. Do it at 7. And as you're doing it, feel the gratitude for being alive. Feel the joy at having consciousness. Feel the pleasure of being able to literally breathe not only air in, but chi, because everything is energy. We are energy. We're energy coalesced into this physical form, but we are energy. And energy has awareness. And the more you really begin sensing and feeling this and being this, the more you start knowing that we are made of source stuff. And it's up to us together, or if someone chooses separately, to evolve ourselves. That is the real game on the planet now. Do I know that there are quote unquote wars? Yes, of course I know that. Am I denying that? No, I'm saying it's time for all of that to be over. And be aware, and I'll say this once because the guys have asked me clearly to refrain from discussing politics. If someone has shown themselves to be a sociopath, only interested in what they want, whether it's money, power, for some people that kind of goes together, whether it's to quote unquote win while everyone else loses, those people may not have changed at all. They just may have gotten louder and look to convince others that they're suddenly a hero. When someone shows you who they are, believe it. And until they show you differently, because be open, we can all evolve. But until they show you differently, don't fall for what my ex used to call the okie doke. Do not. Do not. That doesn't mean be closed. No, be aware. And allow yourself to grow. So you were not made from an ape. You were not. Read more for the scientific stuff from Greg Braden, from Billy Carson, from many other people. So you could start knowing that yes, we do have that in us from the beginning. We have to learn really how to deal with emotion. This whole business of transhumanism, I'm not a fan. The only time to me, put AI and all that stuff inside of people is when the body absolutely does not work. Then it's a gift. But to become that, that's like becoming data. To me, that's a person choosing to refrain from learning how to deal with their own emotions and growing and being personally responsible for who they are. This is a time to clear what I call, but the guide showed me, genetic karmic patterning, GKP, or ancient conditioning, or anything from our genetic past, whether you call it epigenetics, because that stuff has to be cleared. Every time you sleep with someone, every time you have sex, you bring in the energy of whomever they had sex with. For that, there's recapitulation. I used to teach that a lot. Anytime you make love with someone, if you haven't cleared your own self, they're also having contact with anyone else you might have been with. We want to clear that so that there's a clarity and we're not passing all that confusion on. I will do another show, not today, on how ways to clear that. And just saying I clear it isn't clearing it. It helps that you have that intention, but that's not what does it. So I always do, well, pretty much frequency stones, because we really do need beauty in our lives. Beauty shifts us. A mess, catastrophe, looking at a horrible mess and all that does not shift us, which is why it's important to beautify every single environment. Nature on its own is gorgeous. Nature doesn't make clutter. Whatever doesn't need to be there starts changing. Till you have the beauty that exists in nature. And every season is beautiful, whether it's winter with denuded trees that could look like they're the naked trunks. That has its own beauty. I like spring and summer because I love the blossoms and the beauty of flowers and birds and all of that. However, it's all beautiful. Winter is gorgeous, whether you live where there's snow, which I used to. That has its own beauty. And yes, you prepare for it. You don't go out in snow, which is cold, frozen water, and act as though you're going out in 80-degree weather, because you are not. If it's snow, it's under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway, this is a frequency stone. It is an actual rock that I have painted and added crystals to, and a rock, or as my indigenous friends from the US have called it, the old ones. These are the old ones. They help center you. They help ground you. This is a crystal. And I have programmed these crystals for love, support, health, healing, prosperity. Does that mean you don't have to take your own steps? No. You still have to take your own steps. You are an incredibly capable, brilliant, intelligent person. Let that unlock from within you. You are the one who saves you. We save each other. We don't need to go to an avatar to be saved, because in truth, we're not lost. Any of us, and I mean any of us that believed we're less than, or you listen to the internal dialogue, which the most common faulty thought pattern is not good enough. For umpteen years, I literally believed I was not good enough. And then no matter what I did, no matter what happened at that time, in my head, it might be in your head, in the head of people you deal with, they will feel, they will think, they will speak, they will act as though they're not good enough. And when somebody is stuck in that, and there are many, they may look to accumulate, whether it's things, people, power, money, control, in their effort to somehow make themselves good enough. If you start from knowing you are good enough, you are loved, you are intelligent, you are bright, you are capable, you are creative, you are brilliant, and in some way, shape, or form, everyone has some kind of brilliance. And when one goes with those things rather than the self denying nonsense that people hold in the head and repeat over and over and over again, till it is GKP, genetic karmic patterning, that simply needs to be released. And you release that both through these thought patterns and having somebody do energetic work on you, or do some of it on yourself if you know how. So you're free of it. And when you're free of it, which is also forgiveness, being free of the negative effects of anything anyone, including the self, has done or said about you or anything else. And when you create that, you have a freedom and an ability to make new choices and connect with people in a new way and build and create a new earth. And that is what is happening now. Many of us feel it'll be from now, 2025, through 2027. Will there be ups, downs, ins, out? I think so. I think for some it could be a seemingly rocky ride, and it doesn't have to be. When I did the podcast on how do you deal with chaos, it's really getting yourself centered inside, which does take internal work. You can do the Ho'oponopono, you can do the recapitulation, you can do cutting cords, you can do constantly breathing in the light and allowing it and aligning with it and releasing all the pain, all the sadness, all the judgment. And in terms of beauty and physical attraction, we are different at different ages. And who knows, perhaps, and I do feel this, when we really, as individuals and or as a species, align with that we really are source stuff, and we're living that way and creating that on the earth, because you live differently when you know that, and you love the planet. You don't throw garbage all over the place. You don't clutter up. You don't eat garbage. A lot of people, I'm sorry, I have to say this, are eating what I call garbage. Does that mean you have to be vegetarian or mostly vegan, which is what I am? You don't. But if you're going to eat meat, please give thanks to the animal whose life was given for you to eat. Be aware that everything has consciousness. Everything has consciousness. And act. There's a book called Act as If the Guide in Things Really Matters. It's something like that. I read it years ago. Live that way. Live that way. When you really get that, you will live differently. You will attract differently. You'll have a higher frequency. You will have a different grouping of friends. Will everyone automatically then agree with you? Not necessarily. It depends who you hang out with. But as you evolve, and this is the time of evolving, as I said, some are calling it the reset. And if it's true that we change Earths multiple times a second, as Bashar says, right or wrong, real or not, I listen to wisdom wherever I can find it, from humans, from beings from elsewhere, from channeled entities, from beings from wherever. And I have met people who have met beings from elsewhere. I haven't, and if I have, I didn't know it, so I'll say that right away. But I have spoken to the shiny light beings. That's real. When I had my near death experience, water. Excuse me. And no, it wasn't an extraterrestrial. They were shiny light beings. Like I have a face, they had light, was extraordinary. Being in that vibration, which is much more real than this one that I'm speaking to you from and with. And do we live in a created reality? We live in something. Whether it's a setup, the matrix, this is not the ultimate real reality. It is not. So, how do you get to the most real reality? Keep living. I used to say, I still say it, live the reality you choose to live in. Stop watching people screaming and yelling about control dynamics. It's an old, fake story. Does it happen on our planet? Unfortunately, very much so, yes. Is that something to get upset about? Well, I don't like seeing people killed. I don't like children being killed. I did 2 podcasts on full forgiveness. And remember, forgiveness is being free of the negative effects, a la David Markowitz, as I recalled him teaching it to me years back. So, forgiveness is being free of the negative effects of anything anyone, including the self, has done or omitted doing to the self or about anything else. When you can reach that and not collapse that into pardoning, even if the behavior was horrible, you free yourself from that negative effect, and then you can choose if you're going to pardon them or you leave it to source or for themselves. You have that freedom, and then you move forward and you will feel lighter. I know, because as I said, I am working on that. It can still be a challenge for me because I'm protective over children, especially, and in any way harming that is a no in my book. So I have gotten triggered with that, and I have chosen to be fully free. That gives one a different kind of freedom in the choices we make. I recommend it. And when enough of us are at certain levels, the negative, low level behavior no longer has a place to exist on our planet. So, thank you. This is our appreciations and gratitude. Thank you for freeing yourself. Thank you for knowing you're made of source stuff. Thank you for acting as if. Thank you for the beauty of your soul. Thank you for the generosity of your spirit. And yes, I still do readings, I do energy healings. I definitely am painting, and gorgeous stuff is coming out of me. You don't see it here. I have a gallery. When I know and learn how to roll that into this, I will show it to you. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Bye bye.